Welcome back to our live coding session for the proposed ASRJC Alumni Portal Student Project. Remember, if you would like to have the full code, you can find a link to our public GitHub repository in the description. Since you now are more familiar with the key functionalities used by the program, like Jinja2, routes, database interactions, and JavaScript, to improve efficiency, we shall switch to code review instead of live coding. It serves the same purpose but with higher efficiency since we have already covered the key mechanisms. So, let's continue the fun and dive into the main alumni directory page. As mentioned previously, we will use the same header and footer that we have built for index.html to ensure consistency across the pages. Now, we start with specifics of the alumni directory page. The first part here shows the heading for the alumni directory section. The table here shows the table to display the alumni details. Next part here is the T head, which is the table header. We then have the TR, which is a table row for the header content. This one is the column for the full name, while the next one that shows graduation date is a column for graduation dates. Next, we have the column for class numbers, and also we have the column for contributions next. Finally, the last column that we have over here is the column to indicate availability for collaboration. Next, T-body is the table body to dynamically fill with alumni data. We have to loop through each alumni item provided by the Flask backend. Over here, we have the full name of the alumni, and next up we have the display formatting date, graduation date, or if they haven't graduated yet, you can put on their NA. Next, we have the class number of the alumni. We also then have the contributions of the alumni. Next, we have a portion to say whether to display yes or no for them to open for collaboration or not. Next is some Jinja code, which only shows collaboration button if the alumni is open to collaboration. If they click the collaboration button, then we will display the collaboration form and capture the requested full name and email at the same time. Next, all the way here at div ID, it is the hidden form for collaboration requests shown on when the button is clicked. And below that, we have the form on submit, which is for the form submission handled by JavaScript. Below that, we have name input, and then below that we have another input for the name, which is a required field. Then we have the label for the contact number input. Below that we have an input for the contact number, and for the request email label, it is for the label for the email input. Below that, it is once again an input for email, but it is a required field. Below that, we have label for, which is a label for collaboration description text area. After that, we have text area for collaboration description, which is a required field. Finally, this part that says hidden ID is a hidden input to store alumni name, and the one below that is the hidden input to store alumni email. Finally, at the last part before the end of the form, we have the submit button for the form. All the way down here at script src, it is the link to the JavaScript file that handles the front-end logic. Let's now go to the alumni.js file and understand the JavaScript functions for this page. The first line is to fetch alumni data from the server when the document is fully loaded. And then, over at the .then response, it is to pass JSON response into the JavaScript object. At a constant alumni list, it says that it is for iterating over each alumni data item. At entry.inner.html, it is to only display collaborate button if the alumni is open to collaboration. here we have an if loop that is for setting up the click event to open the collaboration form. And here is for the button.add listener, which is to show the collaboration form and alumni full name and email. Below that, we will also have the function show collab form, which is to populate the hidden inputs with the alumni data, and below that one is to display the form. Over here we have another if loop, which is to handle the form submission for the collaboration request. Next, just at the fetch there, it is to send a post request to the server to submit the collaboration request. Finally, this part here is to alert, is to hide form after the successful submission. Next, let's see the routes.py file and how the routes are being defined. So the first route, which is the admin route API alumni methods equals to get, is to define a Flask route to handle API calls for fetching alumni. Below that, it is to fetch all alumni from the database. Next, there is also the alumni equals to alumni query all, which is to serialize data for JSON response. Finally, all the way at the end there, we have a return JSON-ify alumni list, which is to return the JSON response. So next, we define a Flask route to handle submission of the collaboration requests. Then at the new request there, it is to create new collaboration request object. Then all the way at the end, we also add to the database and commit our changes. Finally, the return statement is to return the success status. This detailed walkthrough provides a comprehensive view of how the JavaScript functions interact with the HTML and make calls to the Flask backend, which interacts with the database to fetch and manipulate alumni data based on user actions. This modular approach facilitates the scalability and maintainability of the web application. That completes the Alumni-directory.html functionality from front-end to back-end access and return of dynamic data back to the web server to show the page. In the next video, we will explore the registration and login page functionality. See you there.